Right, okay, ladies and gentlemen, a big warm welcome to the very first Under the Lights podcast with myself, Robert Blundell. I am delighted to be joined by our very first guest from Workshop in Nottinghamshire, the Commonwealth Flyweight Champion, who will be boxing for the IBO World Title on July the 19th, live on Fightzone. Big thank you to Nicola, Hopewell, for joining us today. Thanks for taking the time out with us this evening, Nicola, to have a little chat with us. And are you well? And
no problem
again,
at
thank
all.
you for joining us.
No problem at all. I'm excited.
Oh, thank you. I'm sure you are. Obviously, as you stated there, Commonwealth champion fighting for the IBO World Title in just a couple of weeks' time now, live on Fightzone.
Yeah.
What we were looking to do, maybe if possible, is have a little chat about how you've got there from where you started boxing to ultimately fighting for, a world championship. So, how was it that you began boxing?
I started boxing just to get fit. So I just went to a local boxercise class. It was a boxing club, but they just started doing female only like boxercise classes. So at this point I think I'm about 20, 21, not done any exercise for a while because I used to dance when I was between 5 and 16. Then I did my A-levels, GCSEs and A-levels, got myself into a job and I was working my way up through my job. So it just kind of stopped really. I carried on running just the odd time, but nothing like I used to do with the dancing. So I just started going to this boxercise class, and it went from there really. So I started boxercise, then a few weeks, and it didn't really take off. So because I liked it, the coach said, "Well, you can come down to like what they called the academy class, and it was where they did like all the pads, the bags, the sparring." Everything like that, but he says because you're not competing, you don't have to do what you don't want to do, just do the fitness part. So I started going down to that, but gradually as time went on, I started doing like the pad work, then I started body sparring, then next minute I was sparring. Then he said to me, we got a show in October, like I think you'll be good on that if you wanted to do it, we can get you all medicaled up and stuff. So I was gonna do it, just do the one fight. Did it and I won by stoppage. So then obviously I wanted to do it again and again. So I ended up having 32 amateur fights altogether. Got onto the England talent pathway. Did a few bits with England boxing. And that's how it started. And then I turned professional 3 years ago.
Yeah, I could obviously talk a little bit about your amateur day because 32 is quite a good number to have as starting in your 20s. And I think, did you pick up an East Midlands regional championship as well?
Yeah, I did. I won quite a few golds and silvers in like box cups. We went to Ireland as well. Did a box cup over there. I won a belt over there. Best boxer of the tournament on the Essex Box Cup. That's where like the belts and stuff started. And then I got the flyweight Central England belt, and I got the flyweight East Midlands belt.
And what made you decide after them couple of years to turn professional?
More because I think it was the next step. Because I had so many fights, but then I started boxing the same people over and over again because they weren't at that point. I mean, there's more and more coming through now, but at that point when I was boxing as an amateur, there weren't that many. There weren't many girls my weight, and the girl I boxed in Ireland in the final of the box cup, she was only from Chesterfield, which was only probably 30 minutes down the road. And it was like the fourth time that I'd fought her. So I just started boxing people over and over again, and I think it was just the next step, really.
How did you find the transition into the paid ranks? Because I know when you start out, because obviously seeing them at that level as an amateur boxing in regional championship finals, box cups internationally in Ireland on the England development pathway, you've got probably boxing people of a certain style. I know when you first turned pro, you had an 8-rounder quite early, didn't you?
Yeah,
And then you moved over to the British boxing stuff. But boxing a girl like on your record, Claudia Ferengio, I know very well from MC, and she's had over 100 bouts. She's tough. She's boxed everybody. How does it compare from boxing nowadays amateurs to the someone who's tough as boots, really, isn't she? But it's a totally different style.
It's a totally different game. I think, like, it sounds silly, but I think in a way it's two separate sports, because like in the amateurs it's very like point scoring, and I feel like in the pros now it's more it's like the strength that you've got behind you as well, and sitting down on your shots more as well. Even though the women's fights, they are like 2 minutes, so they are quick anyway, which I'm used to from the amateurs. But then in the pros it's like it's different. You got to sit on your shots, and like your guard, you got to keep your guard up because you got no head guard and stuff on, so you got to keep your guard up that little bit more as well. But yeah, for my debut, when they said I was fighting Claudia, I mean, I'd done those like the Bieber fights in between, so like I'd had the
Yeah.
experience of like taking the head guard off, and that were a big deal for me, really. So I'm kind of glad I did those fights just to get to help with the transition between the
Yeah.
amateur boxing and then the professional boxing. But yeah, I had that 8 rounder just before I moved over to a boxing board against a heavier girl as well.
Yeah.
And I think that did me world of good as well, because then my first fight was Claudia for a 6 round fight, and when I looked at her, when they matched me and I looked at her record, like I was like, "Are you sure?" Like,
I
even
don't
though
see the
her
loads
record
of
is like
rounds.
her record is like she's lost most of him, but she's well seasoned and she knows her way
Oh,
around the
very.
ring like really well.
I think she's about 120 pounds in and only been stopped a handful of times, and she's been in with everybody, hasn't
Yeah,
she? So,
yeah.
and then after just three bouts, sorry, you stepped up at super flyweight and challenged for the Commonwealth title
Yeah.
against Emma Dolan, who's obviously a very good boxer. It wasn't to be for you that night, but what did you gain from that experience? Because just three bouts in, because obviously I know I don't like to differentiate between the male and the female sport, but to box a girl like that after three bouts for the title over 10 rounds, probably out of your slightly above your natural weight. How did that come about? And did even though it didn't go your way, I think did it prove to yourself you did belong at that level?
Yeah, like when I look back now, I did like, because I used to walk around at probably super flyweight, and I didn't cut weight for it. And from that fight, I realized I do need to do that little bit of a cut, because obviously Emma were coming down from a lot heavier than super flyweight. So that was one of my biggest probably learnings. I do need to stick at flyweight. But having that loss early on in my career and having the experience, because I mean it were a GBM show, it were in front of a big crowd. The it
Yeah.
were at it were at Magna, and it weren't at Magna, sorry, it was at the Cannon Medical Centre, and it were a full arena.
Oh
So I
yeah.
feel like I got the experience from that. I got the experience of like the fight build up, and we did like press conferences and stuff. So I feel like I got experience from everywhere. And in the fight, like there's stuff even now that I'm working on that come from that fight. So I feel like it did me a lot of good taking that loss and
Yeah.
boxing Emma that early on, and then it's helped me then go on to a challenge. Well, I got the flyweight Commonwealth title at my own weight.
Well, I know you just had one bout back against Keita Pack, was it after that? And then
Yeah.
you went, so the last three bouts, you've had all 10 rounders, championship level fights against really good fighters. You come back against Gemma Ruiz. She's another really tough fighter. I don't think her record quite does her justice of how good she is, because I think the girls, especially in the lower weight classes, because you just box each other, the O doesn't really matter, does it? As much
No.
as people put on it. So did that bout with Gemma back at flyweight, you know, straight back in near enough after just one little bout in the middle?
Mm.
How different did you go into that bout with Gemma at flyweight as opposed to
Um,
the championship?
I think the mindset wise, knowing that it was at my own weight as well, but then I couldn't go into that fight being like overly confident. Like I never brag or anything like that. Like I'm quite humble and stuff. Like I never go in there saying I'm going to knock you out and all this like that you
Yeah.
see people do. But um going into that, I knew who Gemma had been in with. So I'm like, she knows her way around the boxing ring. She's boxed on your big show. She's boxed on your match ring. She's boxed on your boxer. Like like the crowd doesn't affect her. And she's been in with a lot heavier girls as well, because flyweight is like the lowest that she goes, I think. But then I think like she's boxed people like at like super bantam and maybe
Yeah.
featherweight. something like
Yeah,
that. So
definitely.
for me, I'm like, I'm only a little flyweight naturally, so she's been in with these big girls and good girls as
And
well.
obviously,
Like,
yeah, with that being a title fight, I know it was a technical decision. You were ahead at the time. Sorry, no, in a technical decision. I'm getting ahead of myself there. But it was you won well on the 3 cards. Sorry, that day, despite it
yeah,
being a tough bout, you won well. Did you
yeah.
feel in there that you felt more in your rhythm of boxing over 10 rounds at your own weight as opposed to a superfly?
Yeah, I mean, like the fight against Gemma, like again, I got the experience of doing the 10 rounds and with a very good fighter as well. So I feel like at my own weight and against someone my own size, I did feel a lot more comfortable when I were in there.
I remember your next bout as well, because the first time I emceed you when you boxed Mary Aina Abbey at the
Oh yeah.
Fightzone, Skate Central in Sheffield. I remember getting me prep through for that show and seeing she was 12-1 with 10 knockouts. So for a female flyweight, that's monstrous, really, isn't it? I'd never
Yeah.
seen anything like it. Did you know much about Mary, Iron Mary, I think she was called? Did you know much about her going into the bout? Because I'll be honest, I'd just seen the record and thought, wow.
Yeah, I mean, again, when they matched it and then when I saw it, I went 10 knockouts and 12 fights. Like, I'm a bit worried there
Yeah.
because she's obviously got she's strong. But
Mm.
when I got in, I watched some of her fights, and some of them I did think like, wow, there's some power behind that shot. But we trained for it, and when I were in there, I think when I was in there, I took that first round and I was really cautious because of the record and the knockout record. I didn't know what she had. I didn't know how strong she was. So I feel like the first round in that fight, I was more like trying to work her out a little bit and maybe test her strength a little bit.
Yeah.
But then I feel like after that first round, I got my rhythm and I worked out in a way how strong she actually were, and I knew
Yeah.
what I
Well,
needed to do.
it was basically a shutout on the cards as well. I remember you
Yeah,
feeling from ringside, because I remember even the trepidation because we just knew the record. I remember announcing it, saying I'd never announced a female flyweight with a record like that. And but I think it did become clear rounds 3 and 4 you were, the superior boxer. But we seen it last week, didn't we, with Fabio Wardley? As no matter how much you can be outboxing someone, if someone has got that in the locker, you have to,
yeah,
as the boxer, stay switched on for that whole
yeah,
fight. So was that on your mind even going into the
yeah.
championship rounds?
It were, yeah. I mean, she came out. She came out in those first few rounds, and she was there. I think as the fight went on, she faded a little bit, but I still had to be switched on. You're always in the back of my mind. She's got that knockout record, so she obviously can pull it out of nowhere, and if it catches you, it's going to be a good shot.
Yeah,
So I think throughout the whole fight, even though I could see her tiring, it was always in the back of my mind.
yeah. And then obviously I got a bit ahead of myself before you moved on to box Kate Radomska after that. She's another girl whose record I think can be a bit deceptive of her because she's 4-6. But outside of boxing, I made Claudia a couple of times. She's boxed the top girls herself, hasn't
Yeah,
she? She's a really good, solid fighter.
yeah,
Being another one who's with good people, that was the one that was the technical decision where I got ahead of myself before.
yeah. Well,
How did you feel at that? Because it stopped after 6 rounds, didn't it? Were you finding your rhythm, and did you feel was it frustrating, or because I know there was cuts in the fight for both of you, wasn't there?
yeah,
Or
I thought that fight was probably my most frustrating fight. I felt like she just kept trying to just smother my work and ruin my work, and everything I'd worked on just went out window for that fight. So it was very frustrating. And then when it got stopped after 6 rounds, something like that, I just felt like really frustrated. I weren't very happy with the performance that I gave. And I was a bit hard on myself, really, even though I won the fight. I was just a bit hard on myself after that fight.
I think she's a hard boxer to look good against, because she probably knows that she couldn't match you for boxing ability, so that's why she went down that route. But she's a good person to move on to, because she did a couple of years ago box a certain French lady by the name of Marie Conan, who we will be seeing on July the 19th for the IBO World Title. I was just wondering how this opportunity was presented to you, because obviously it's I know it does happen a bit more in the female sport, but you're not that many bouts in yourself, really. You're only, is it 8 contests in now?
Yeah.
And we're fighting for the world championship against another seasoned championship level fighter with some good wins. How did this opportunity come about, and what do you know about Marie?
I don't know a lot about Marie, to be honest. I mean, I was watching when I was training for the Kate Radomska fight. I was watching the fight that she had with Marie, but at this time, I didn't know I was going to be boxing Marie. So I had like seen her before when it got put to me. I was like, oh, yeah, I've watched that. But yeah, when it got put to me, like Dennis had always said, like, from when he signed me, right, we're gonna get titles and we're gonna like work towards different titles and stuff, and he came up with this one and presented it to us. So it was just an obvious route to go down. Like, we had to do it. It's an opportunity that we're probably not gonna get. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's obviously out because it was originally scheduled in to be last weekend on the 14th of June. Obviously, there was injuries to some undercard boxers, wasn't there? And the whole show got postponed by 5 weeks. How has that impacted you much, or frustrated you, or you fired you up?
I think it's fired me up a little bit. I mean, at the time, it can be frustrating because it does have its challenges. Like, you've sold tickets, people can't make that date again, so you're going to mess around getting your tickets back, refunding them. That's probably the worst part about it. But other than that, I just had a few days, like, as like a bit of a deload, just to let my body recover because I was ready to fight. So I just done my last spar and everything when it got announced. So I just had the few days,
Yeah.
just let my body reset, and then we've gone again. So it's not really going to impact me that much. Now I've had a few days. Now I'm back on it. I've just picked up where I left off. It's just going to give me more time just to prepare that a little bit longer, and I think it just fires you up a little bit more as well. But all in
Yeah,
all, I think because of the dropouts and stuff due to the injuries, I think it's probably better to postpone because then your fans are going to get a better experience on the night rather than just coming and seeing a handful of fights. You're probably better off having that few weeks to let them injuries heal
yeah.
and fill the card up again.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be my first world title as an MC, so it feels good to have had you as the first guest. I remember when Max rang me, to basically say it was getting pushed back, and I was sitting on the couch with my wife, and the new date is her birthday, so I've just had to go, it's a world title. Do you know what I mean? Just let me do it. Like that, but,
You'll have to make
yeah,
it up to her after.
Oh, I will. We go on holiday the week after, so we'll make up for it there. But you alluded to it about being signed with Dennis and the Fight Academy. Dennis and Steve obviously put a lot of shows on Skate Central and other areas live on Fightzone. How has it been working with Dennis and Steve and Max and all the team?
Yeah, it's been really good. I mean, they've kept me active. I mean, I have had 3 fights since I signed with him now. And in a short space of time, it's not even been a year yet, and this will be my 3rd fight. So yeah, keeping me active because like a lot of boxers, I'm better when I'm active. And also with the venue in Sheffield, it's very local to me as well. Like, I'm not fighting miles away and I need to try and sell tickets and all that. So it's really handy, like, just having it down the road and good access for everybody to get there as well.
Yeah, and it has been, as you said, the 3 bouts you've had under Dennis, and they've been 3 proper bouts, haven't they? You haven't had a gimme in there. They've been 3 proper hard-fought 10 rounders. But as you said, if it was titles you were after, you've certainly had them. And I know you're a professional and you're not going to look past Marie at all. But if everything goes to plan on the 19th of July, would the plan then be to look to unify that world title, or would you look to defend it? Have you got any names that you want?
Either, to be honest. I mean, I'd like to look at the champions at flyweight. But yeah, to unify there's just an American girl. She's got the rest of them, so I'd want to look at something like that. But pardon.
Yeah, it would be good to maybe have a defence at home as well, though, as the defending champion. So I think, obviously, I know you're not looking past Marie because she's a seasoned fighter. She boxed for the European title. She twice she boxed for the IBO World Title. She's been in with a good few names. She's like, I don't imagine she's not coming to make the numbers up, is she? She's coming to defend she's not coming over. She's coming to defend the title, isn't she?
Yeah, and I mean, she's defending the title as well, so she's like going to be training now. She's not going to want to let the title go. So I know that because I've defended my title, so I know exactly what she's doing and what she's thinking. So then I think that fires me up a little bit more as well, though.
Yeah, because obviously I think you've worked so hard to get that title. I remember that Commonwealth title defence against Mary Aina, as I say, when I seen a record, and I was pleased I got to say "and still" at the end, but I think everyone in the room that day knew what was coming, didn't they? So, yeah, obviously you've alluded to there that your training hasn't much changed since your the 5-week postponement on the show. And it's fired you up. Are we expecting a big crowd to come along and support you for this world title, Jones?
Yeah, I've sold quite a few tickets. I mean, I've still got some left if anyone wants one. But yeah, I've got quite a good crowd coming with me. Yeah,
it's a Skate Central. It can be loud in there, can't it? As well, it's a good venue, but it's got elements of old school to it. I think a bit of I don't know how to describe it, but it's got like that darkness to it. But you feel like you're in a fight arena, don't you? Considering it's a roller skating rink for the week, it is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It gets a little bit of a taste of it, I think. I know, it's good though, isn't
it? Yeah, it's good. I mean, another thing, like, because it's been postponed, I've had my kit came the day the fight got postponed, and I've shown a few of my friends my kit and like, can I get a t-shirt? So like that 5 weeks has like gave me a chance now to get like quite a few people matching t-shirts. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing that on fight night.
That will be good. So obviously we've gone through a little whistle stop tour of your career there, from where you started out at the boxercise class to having winning and defending the Commonwealth Championship, now headlining a show in Sheffield, fighting for a world title. I know you've alluded to there that you're not looking past, but do you think you've got a good few years left in you as well? Do you think it's going to be this is just the start?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I feel like if I win that on 19th of July, I need to keep getting used to saying that date now. 19th of July. I hope it like propels me a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it will, because as I say, it's a world championship. I'm going to say, obviously, fighting for the world title, and obviously coming through the route you've come through the amateurs, 32 bouts in the amateurs, fighting for titles basically from the off in your pro career, hard fights back to back, really. Now, is there anyone you look at who's inspired you? Who are your favourite boxers that you're a fan of, or you watch, or you take inspiration from?
I don't know really. To be honest, I don't really watch that much boxing. But I'll always watch Katie Taylor fights when she's on. I'm looking forward to her and the Amanda Serrano fight, and that whole card. It's on the week before mine, so yeah, I look at that, and I do look at a lot of female fighters and like what they've had to overcome. And there's a lot of girls on that card, which is they've signed. Well, they've signed with Jake Paul now, but like they've been through Matchroom and boxing and whatever. They've not had the fights they've wanted, and they've ended up there. So like they've had to overcome different things. I think as a fighter, you do have to overcome different things. But I always look at. I look for shows like that.
Yeah, no, it will be. It'll be good, and obviously it's the third time they're boxing. There was a bit of, obviously Serrano did a couple of 3-minute 12 threes, didn't she, with a WBC title? Is that something you'd be happy to do?
I don't know. To be fair, I like the twos. I like the twos. I think the more like I can do threes. I did threes as an amateur. The 3-minute bit doesn't like scare me or anything like that. But I just think the 2-minute rounds, I just think it gets the crowd like a little bit more excited. I know like they're just quicker. And I think it like because they're quicker and the pace is higher, people seem like more excited to see the female fight. So that's the only reason
I agree with you. The tempo of them is a lot quicker than the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I think is sometimes you might see more stoppages if we had the third minute, but I don't think you'd have the excitement. So I think that's the offset people have got to appreciate, haven't they? So yeah, we've
because I
gone through a
think in
little
a few
whistle
of
stop
my
tour of your
fights,
career there. I
like if
really
I'd
do
have had that
appreciate you coming
third
on.
minute in probably the Mary Abbey fight, I think I may have got her out of there. Like in that, I think I've had a few fights where I think
Yeah,
the bell saved him. So if I'd have had that third minute, maybe I could have
yeah.
stopped him. But then just the excitement of the twos, like
I,
I think people just prefer it.
I, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's obviously that's the offset, isn't it? If it was 3 minutes, it wouldn't be as all out. And
Yeah,
obviously, I sometimes think though it can favour the less talented because they can fiddle the way through maybe 2 minutes, whereas the third you might, as you said, there maybe the back with Kate Widomska where you got, she
yeah,
spoiled your work a little bit. You only had to do it for 2 minutes, maybe that third minute. But as you say, I think the
yeah.
excitement offsets the rest of it. So
Yeah,
obviously
like
a big
did
night.
Kate
I don't
that
want to take
third
up too
minute,
much
she
of
might not
the
have coped, but
but it might not have been exciting for every other minute.
yeah, true.
So obviously, I wanted to try to get you on for about half an hour. We're getting close to that, so I know you're a busy person because you were telling me there you're still in training for a world title fight and you're working till 7 o'clock on a Monday night.
I know. Yeah, I sparred this morning and I've been at work and trained again, so it's never stops.
Oh. How do you find that balance between working still and obviously it's basically 2 careers you've got going on, or 3 careers, isn't it? You've got going on.
Yeah, so
With your sport.
I've got my day job it's part-time, but it's 4 days a week. Then I've got a sports massage business, which I've been doing today. And then I box as well. So I can balance it. Like it's easy to balance. Like with my clients on sports massage, I can balance them and put them on days where it's like my low training days and on Saturdays. So it's easy to balance. I had to get used to it, but now I'm used to it. It's easy.
So no, we really do appreciate you coming on there and talking through us a little whistle stop tour of your career. And I was going to ask if after the fight, when you've got your belt, if you could come back on with it.
Oh, definitely.
Oh no, well, brilliant. Thank you for being my first guest, Nicola. It seemed really appropriate with to being the first world title that I'm going to be lucky enough to MC. And I'm meant to be neutral as an MC, but I'll always support the British fighters against, on a home show like that. So hopefully we get to be that big Sheffield Crown shout and the new world champion.
Yes, thank you. And I'll see you on the
Thank you
night.
very much. In a couple of weeks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
No worries.
Bye.
See you later.